Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Money Stop. Happy Monday night. Um, it is a bright and sunny day here in Vegas, but um, just getting down with the sun on the East Coast. Um, Glad to be bringing you guys another episode of the Money Stop here tonight. We are nearing the end of the season. Um, we're down to the final race. The championship is going to be decided this weekend. Somebody will hoist this trophy in between us. So we are going to be previewing all of that tonight. But first, I'd like to welcome again my co-host Laner back on for another great episode.
Yep, good to be back.
Um, we have a really good lineup of stuff to talk about tonight. We do have some changes to the kind of lineup of what we're going to talk about, so the episode may not go as long tonight. But we're hoping to still kind of produce a good conversation tonight, kind of as we wrap up the season here in just a couple of days for the Cup Series at least. But um, we're going to talk about Vegas in just a second. Um, but I wanted to first kind of get to the D2 race first, just because I know that that did take place before um, all of the kind of craziness ensued with the Martinsville race. Or wait, am I switching things? I think the Cup race was first,
Um,
actually. Yeah, the Cup race was first.
yeah,
Excuse me. But either way, there was still a lot of craziness going on during the Martinsville race. So I do want to touch on that first. Before we do start, we're not going to be having an open practice tonight just because there is some issues going on with the track and just spawning. So um, to save time for ourselves and for the efficiency of the episode, we're not having an open practice tonight, but still encourage you guys to practice. Obviously between now and the end of the week. Apologies for any inconveniences that may cause, but yeah, just wanted to throw it out there before people start joining and kind of start wondering why they're not able to kind of spawn or end up in certain places. But anywho, with that out of the way, let's talk about the Vegas race that D2 took part in this past weekend here at Vegas. So, as far as for right now, at least the Geico series has wrapped up. Um, I know that there have been some rumors that there may be a continuation going forward, but we still have not heard any like official word yet. I don't know if you can speak to it later, but I know that at least for the race itself at Vegas from this past weekend, it was just utter chaos. I feel like it was much worse than Martinsville. I thought Martinsville was bad, but like I couldn't even watch the Vegas race. It like pained me to watch the Vegas race. It was really really sad to be honest. Watching that race unfold. Um, I know the race was called like the Please Have a Green Flag Run, and it didn't seem like there was any green flag runs at all, just from the looks of it. Um, and I don't even know how there was like three stream viewers all night. For the most part, the stream had like three or four viewers consistently, and I don't know how that happened. I don't know who
yeah,
would sit there and spend their time watching the race go from restart to caution, then to pit road, restart, caution, and in the same loop. So um, I don't even know what to make of that race. I know that a lot of these drivers are still learning, so I give them grace and I give them patience. But damn, it's hard watching um, this type of racing. I guess like we're seeing much more aggressiveness, I think, in this series than in Cup by far. Um, so I think that means that like just this group of drivers that are in the second division are very passionate about racing in this series and what we have to offer in
Well,
ROCAR.
just think about the Cup Series is racing. We're racing for a championship right now in the Cup Series,
Right.
and Geico Series isn't racing for anything. And like you just said it perfectly, they're racing way more aggressive in the Geico Series than we're racing in the Cup Series, and we're racing for a championship right now. That I think like that is the problem to me. Like I think that's the problem is because they are just racing way too aggressively. Um and like you said, I get they're new to the cars, so that's one thing. But like everyone's just gonna have to calm down at some point. Otherwise, it's just never gonna work.
Yeah.
You got to learn like when to push the car and when to be aggressive. I don't think that those drivers have quite learned that yet. So it's definitely going to be a learning experience. And we will have some announcements coming out soon regarding the future of that series. I think we were hoping to put one out today, but I didn't quite get around to doing a few things that we needed to. So
Yeah.
I would keep a lookout tomorrow for that announcement. But I think that that's kind of what the issue is to me. I just think people are just driving way too aggressively.
Yeah, and on top of that too, I think that since there's no championship on the line and people are just kind of racing for wins right now, it kind of takes away the seriousness of it all too. So people feel like careless and like the lack of respect goes up just a bit. So I think that hopefully with a championship on the line next season, it will improve. I mean, I hope to God it will. But I'm interested to see maybe like who will move up to Cup out of the group that kind of, I guess, graduates from D2. Me personally, I would like to see this full group of drivers do a full season under the full season format with the championship too. I don't think I would want to see any of these full time D2 drivers move up just yet because number one, they're still learning the car. Number two, the D2 series started up like maybe a quarter or halfway through the regular season. And it got to a point where some of those drivers did not kind of come in until even a couple races after it started. And then again too, like some of those drivers may have never experienced those earlier on races in the season, those tracks that were kind of ran once earlier in the season and have not been revisited since. So for me, I think it's just one of those things where yes, it's a great program, but like the drivers I think should stay where they are because we're gonna bring a lot of new drivers in on top of those guys next season, but we need people in that series to kind of set the example for how to race each other.
Well, I think a big issue that I've noticed is that the drivers in that series are getting very, very emotional. I don't know if that's the word, but like the tempers are flaring every single lap in that series. Like
Yeah,
we have people mad at each other constantly, wrecking each other under yellow. Like it's just like I don't even know. Like it's just like we do have that every once in a while in the Cup Series, but I think there needs to be a point where we all just kind of chill out a little bit. Um, because at the end of the day, like we're all here to just race. And my biggest concern is that we're not even keeping points in that series right now. So like if the intensity level is already like that with no points on the line, what is the intensity level going to be next season when points are on the line?
yeah.
Um, it like you know what I mean? Like it's just crazy to me, like how intense these drivers are taking it, and literally nothing is on the line. So I I don't know. Hopefully things get a little bit better, but I definitely think that there needs to be a little bit more patience given out from everybody, just because I don't think that every single move that happens on the racetrack is intentional, and I don't think every single move is meant to be like an intentional spin or whatever. At the end of the day, everybody's learning these cars. So I think what's happening is people are overdriving corners and they're making contact. Then the person that gets driven into gets pissed off and then they retaliate. And then it's just kind of this snowball that keeps going. And it's just a terrible cycle.
No, I fully agree. I definitely think that that needs to improve. But with that also comes punishing people, teaching them that it's not okay to do that. And we have not seen that out of the officiating box, however many officiators there is every week. Um, like giving out warnings is one thing, but there's a point where it exceeds warnings at that point. Like people need to be parked. Um, and I know like we're scared that like, if they get parked, maybe they'll leave the league and never come back. But by allowing them to continue doing that, I think you create a culture that um, is unfixable. You can't keep people there when um, you're allowing them to do that. Um, so for me, I just think I think the officiating like has to get a little better too. Um, overall, like not so to speak with like one race in particular, but like overall, the officiating just has to be better. Um, because for these guys that are learning, some of them have not spent a minute of their time looking at the rule book. So I guarantee you they probably don't know much of the rules, and that's okay because at one point a lot of us didn't either. So, um, but it just takes a simple kind of look through to kind of know what your boundaries are, I guess, and where your where your limits are when you're driving.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a mess right now, and hopefully, with the announcement that we put out tomorrow, hopefully things will get a little bit better. But I don't think it's going to be anything that happens overnight. But to your point, I mean, this is the future of ROCAR. I mean, these are the drivers that will continue the legacy of ROCAR because obviously a lot of people in the Cup Series, I would say, other than Parker or Benji, I mean, me, Craigus, Lego, and Land, like we've been here for a while. So these newer guys are really going to be the ones that carry the torch and continue the legacy of this league going forward. So definitely want to see more improvement on that end, and I just I think a lot of work needs to be done. I'm trying to use my words nicely because I don't want to seem like I'm calling anybody out or anything because like we were all there at one point, like we were all rookies. I mean, maybe we all didn't drive like that as rookies, but I mean, we were all there at one point. So I know improvement is possible, and I'm just hopeful that we can see that improvement at some point.
Yeah, I think the improvement will definitely um, it will definitely come at one point. It's just kind of a matter, I think, of like when. Um, I do want to play back the finish, I guess, because that's like what a lot
All
of the
right, we are now
people were
live. Let me
talking
post
about. Oh,
the link in
jeez.
general chat.
Okay,
We
let me mute
will
Aiden because he is
be
yapping
pacing
a
at.
lot. Um, but that seemed to be something that a lot of people were talking about was the finish. Um, obviously, crazy race. You know, with trying to get some green flag runs in, did not happen that much, but um, I'm just gonna display the finish accordingly on the screen here in a second. Um, kind of to break down the finish. Um, let me see if I can get this up. My
I'm
computer
not gonna
is
lie, I
being.
have not even seen the finish, so this will be my first time seeing it.
Yeah, it's not pretty. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It's not pretty. Um, I don't know why the flags were never changed for the most part under caution, but let me see. So this was the final, um, coming to the final, I guess, over flag attempt. Um, you can see tricks back there, times up there also. It's just utter chaos though. Um, from start to finish of this last restart, um, tricks get spun out, which is very unfortunate because he's won the last three, I think, races in a row. So
Yeah,
very unfortunate that he was taken out of it.
and he was
Uh,
fast again at Vegas. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. Time had a chance too at the end, but just could not quite get there. Um, but yeah, they were three wide for second for a good portion of the final
so
lap.
the 87, or I think the 87 won. I don't know the exact number, but he came from second to last to win the race. So, I mean, there was a lot of chaos ahead of him, but I mean, it's pretty crazy. Came from that
Yeah,
far back.
and time finishing in the grass, crazy. I think that's time. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So crazy finish. But congratulations to the 87. I believe he won in his first start.
Yes.
Pretty crazy that he could pull that off. We don't really see that too often, so congratulations to him. Um, so yeah, as Laner said before, though, we'll have an answer on D2 pretty shortly. Hopefully, as soon as tomorrow, maybe. So you guys can just stick around and wait for that announcement. Um, so for now, we're gonna work on tackling this Cup Series race that took place this past weekend at Martinsville. Um, was a completely different race, I think, than D2, in my opinion. I don't know if you would agree, Laner, but to me,
I mean,
it was an entirely
yeah,
different race. Just
yeah,
I think with how much it stretched out it got, like how there was so many gaps during the race.
yeah.
Um, you know, things got like strategy definitely played a big part into the Martinsville race. Um, I feel like as well, Lego started on the pole and led a good portion of the laps. Um, and we saw a couple different leaders throughout the race. Land ultimately got himself back to victory lane, which now solidifies him as the points leader going into the final race of the season, and coming down to this last race for the championship, closing out the chase. What do you make of the race from this past weekend in your eyes? Um, and I don't know, if anything could have played out differently, on your end. Um, I don't, from what I saw, for the most part, it seemed like either like you were in the front or the back. Like I don't know. It was hard to kind of gauge where you were at certain points of the race. Just in terms of like your overall performance. I know you did lead some laps. So just walk me through, I guess, um, kind of how your race went from your perspective and what your expectations are for the 22 team going into the final weekend.
Well, I think we had a top three car. I think me, Lego, and Benji probably had the three best cars. And I mean, early in, I think it was stage one or stage two. I think it was stage two. Whenever it got pretty strung out, we were the three that kind of separated ourselves. I mean, it was me, Lego, and Benji, and then from third on back, it was a pretty big gap. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think we had a race winning car, but I do think we had a pretty decent car, and we were able to get to the lead at one point and lead 21 laps. I'm looking at the laps led. But I think Lego and Benji definitely stood out to me, for sure. Land Land did not have a good car, and I think he would be the first one to tell you that. I mean, he was really struggling, and I don't know exactly how he got to the lead. I don't really remember, but I mean, he took full advantage of getting the lead and was able to hang on there at the end and get the win. So it was really big for him. But I mean, for me, going into Vegas, I mean, we still control our own destiny technically. It wouldn't necessarily be easy, but like I was doing the math quickly in my head. I mean, if we won both stages and the race and led the most laps, that would give us 17 points regardless of what anybody else does in the race. So technically, like for our team, like we still control our own destiny, and that's kind of the mindset I have. It would be extremely difficult to sweep the race and lead the most laps. That would not be a very easy feat to do, but if we are able to do that, we will walk away with the championship. So it does make me feel a little bit better that I'm not relying on other people. That we still control our own destiny in a sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I don't really like relying on other people. So I kind of like having things in my own control. So it's nice to know that if we go out there and perform really well, that we still don't have to rely on what other people do to win the championship.
Yeah, and I know that this weekend's race, we can kind of dive into this a little later too. I know this weekend's race is probably going to be drastically different from earlier this season. Um,
Yes.
just all around, the aggression, the type of racing that it's going to be set up with the cars, and we're going to see a very different race than what we saw. I guess not like the spring, but like just earlier on in the season. Um, so I guess my question for you is like, you guys said that you control your own destiny, but is 15 points doable even, do you think, with all the changes at Vegas?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like the scenario that I gave you, like with us controlling our own destiny, involves us winning both stages and the race and leading the most laps. So,
Yeah.
like, you tell me how realistic that is because I haven't done that all season long. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that that's a very realistic outcome. But yeah, I mean, if we aren't able to do that, which obviously that's our goal every weekend, I think that that's everybody's goal every weekend is to go out and dominate a race. That's what we all plan to do every week. A lot of times it doesn't play out that way,
Yeah.
but if we aren't able to do that, I think it'll definitely come down to how do we how do we perform related to land or Lego. Like if we're not able to do the situation that I just told you about, I think we're gonna need land and Lego both to probably not finish as well.
Yeah.
So, because we're a little bit further back. I mean, Lego's only -2, so I think Land and Lego are definitely in the best spot. Um, we're gonna need things to go our way a little bit because, like I said, I don't think sweeping the race is very realistic, especially with how much is on the line for Land or Lego. I think that if they get up there, they will also push the issue. So, yeah, I mean, really, like, we're just gonna go out there and give it all we have, and if things fall in our favor, then that's how it'll go. But at this point in the season, that's all you can really do. I In the old car in the one race championship, you put so much emphasis because if you win the race, you're the champion. But in this format, man, there's just so many things that could happen in a race, and it's just so unpredictable. So
Yeah.
it's still really hard to predict like what's going to happen at Vegas.
Yeah. Um, Another thing I want to point out too is to get back to your point earlier about Land taking the lead. He took the lead on lap 151, or coming to lap 152, technically. He won the race off pit road, and I believe that was like the last round of pit stops. If not, he maintained the lead all the way to the end of the race. So, um, yeah, even with pit stops at lap 170,
Yeah.
he maintained the lead of the race. So he led those final 30 laps of the race. So it wasn't a dominating performance by Land or like what we're used to seeing by any means, but Land still got the victory, and I think that that team is gonna be what they highlight most when they look back on this weekend because they leave being the points leader. So, they put themselves back in the position that they've been in for most of the season now. Yes, it creates a little more work for Lego and for you, but I think that that team is still, going to have to nail Vegas. I don't think by any means they're going to sit at Vegas like the whole race out, and run in the back. I expect the 21 to probably be the most aggressive of anybody as they kind of race for keeping themselves at the top of the points. Um, I think too, Lego will be racing aggressively too. I just don't know what we should expect out of that team. Coming into this final race, Lego's never been in a position like this before, where he's been in like you know close,
Good
close,
points.
close
Yeah.
contention for a title. So I don't really know how the team is going to perform under pressure in this scenario.
Yeah.
We've seen Land and how this other format has gone too. That we've had with the win and you're in. Like we've seen him perform under pressure in multiple occasions. We can recall back to various seasons, but with Lego, I'm just a little nervous about him. Just because I really don't know what to expect. I know that Land's going to be aggressive. I just don't know what to expect out of Lego coming into this weekend. But
Yeah, I was actually gonna say I think Lego is gonna be the most aggressive driver out there this weekend. I think like Land has done this so much that I mean, like, yeah, he's probably gonna be aggressive, but like I don't know if he's gonna be overly aggressive. Because I mean, like, Land also just hasn't been that type of driver in a while either. I mean, like, if you look back to like early seasons, like, yeah, Land was he would race that way and he would be really aggressive. But I feel like, especially in this newer generation of car, Land has been very, very patient with people, and he hasn't really been that aggressive. Like, I'm actually really surprised how non-aggressive he's been, especially this season. Um, Now, whenever you talk about a championship being on the line, that it might change things, but I just don't know that I really see Land going out there and like, you know, being super aggressive. I mean, he'll be aggressive in the sense of like he's not going to waste time with people. I mean, let's say Benji or Parker's in front of him or Craigus or like one of these guys that are out of contention. Like he'll probably rough you up to get you out of the way because I mean he's racing for a championship. But you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
I really do think like I think Lego is going to be the one that is the most aggressive in this race,
yeah,
and he's 2 points away from a championship. Lego has never been in this position before, and I think that at least from what I would assume is if Lego doesn't go out there and give it everything he's got, he's not going to sleep well at night knowing that he didn't give it everything. So I really think like Lego is going to give it everything he has. And I wouldn't blame him. So I think Lego's going to be racing with his hair on fire.
yeah. You make a great point. I did not think about it that way. Um, you know, I think another thing is too is we've never seen this matchup before this season. So, comparing these two all season long and kind of talking about like, which one could be the favorite at this race or during this weekend or, like, it's been really exciting. It's been something that I think, we'll talk about more next week when we kind of recap the season. This duo has really put on amazing performances this season, all around. Um, and whoever wins the title, I think has earned it. Land has 4, and I'm sure he would love to make it 5. Um, Lego has never won a title, and I'm sure he would love to join the group of champions that have earned a title. So you could make a case for both drivers. We could even make a case for you being a back-to-back champion if everything goes in your favor. Obviously, a tall task, but anything is possible. But I've been really impressed with how these two have kind of gone at it this season. I know that they've had some moments where they've kind of clawed at each other's heads, but they've really done a great job out on the track this season. So
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably need to take it on a stage by stage basis this weekend.
yeah,
We'll probably keep points after every stage. We did that last season as well. But I feel like for me personally, like if I'm not finishing first or second in stage one, I'm pretty much out of it. So I really think like we'll have a pretty good idea after stage one of like where things set. But I think the most realistic outcome it's going to come down to Lego and Land. Like I'm going to need them to fall apart if I really have a chance.
yeah.
Um, and I don't know if that'll happen. I mean, hopefully. I mean, that would be great. I hope that they let me win my second championship, but I don't think that I don't think that that's
From a driver's perspective, not as a team owner,
yeah.
I would hope.
Yeah, no, from a driver. I mean, I would love to win my second championship. That would be great.
Yeah,
But uh yeah. So we'll just have to see. I'm I'm not really going into it expecting to win the titles. So if I do, that would be pretty insane. I really do think it's going to come down to Lego and Land. So I don't know. It's really crazy. Like, I mean, with Lego only being 2 points back, I really feel like this is basically the old format with two drivers. Like, it almost is like whoever wins this race out of Lego or Land is going to win the championship. At least to me.
um, is he 2 points back or 5 points?
Yeah, so he was 5, but that was before the most laps led bonus.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
Lego led the most laps, so he got 3 more points for that. So he's only
Okay,
2 back now.
okay. So that changes things then.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like dead even.
yeah. So because I was just about to get to the points actually and start displaying them on the screen, I just wanted to be clear in that correction. Um,
I mean, like if it tells you anything, the the winner of a race gets 10 points over second place. So
yeah,
it's literally like it will literally come down to who wins the race between Lego or Land.
yeah,
Like in my whichever one of them wins the race wins the championship. Because I mean that's just going to be how the points shape out. And I truly do believe that one of those two is going to win the race. So I think Lego and Land, their mindset should just be to win the race, and whichever one of them does it, you're the champion.
yeah.
That's how I view it, at least.
Laner, you did slip out from the studio, so
Oh
if you would
no.
like to make a reappearance, but um, yeah, I honestly think that the championship is going to come down to these two guys. You know, it's going to be very close this whole race. It's going to be one of those races where I think that you're going to probably be on the edge of your seat the entire time as a spectator. Um, but those people that are tallying up the points as the race goes on, I think will be kind of on the edge of their seats to see where they come out to at the end of each stage. Um, and I honestly think that, not for nothing, I honestly think this might be one of the best seasons we've ever had, in terms of just trying to determine the championship. Um, this has been like truly a spectacle to watch this season unfold, in the way that it has. And I think that, the playoffs, the way that we had them for the past seasons, I think were nice, but sometimes, it didn't always like work out to, I think, how it should have, either with like a champion, or like season one. I
Yeah.
I look to immediately. Um, but like flukes, and this season has really provided much more of the authenticity of like your hard work being, put to the test, and paying off, I think. um, just with executing all week, and the practice laps, and the qualifying speeds, and setting average lap times every single lap. I think has paid off for a lot of these drivers. So I think all in all, like, you know, we've just had a really, really great season, and you know, I'm I really am looking forward to who kind of comes out with it after this weekend.
Yeah, I really do think it'll be interesting because I know, like, we talk a lot about land and Lego, but there's also four other drivers in the field,
Yeah,
and I think every driver in the field wants to win this race because even if you're not in contention for the title, I mean, winning the last race of the season would be a huge momentum boost going into next season and the off season.
right.
So I know there's a lot on the line for everybody, especially like look at somebody like Parker who's really had a rough season. Like Parker wants to win a race. Um and that he's going to give it everything he has to win Las Vegas. I'm sure Benji wants to win. Craig is like everybody wants to win this race, regardless of what's on the line for anybody else. So I don't think that the non-championship contenders are just going to lay over. Like I really do think Land and Lego are still going to have to fight for every single spot that they get. I don't think that it'll just be given to them, regardless of if you're their teammates, non-teammates, whatever. Like I really do think it'll still be a really tough battle out there on the racetrack.
Yeah. I do want to get to the points. So just taking a look here. So Land and Lego, between them, there is about a 2 point gap. It's not accurate on the screen as it's displayed, obviously, but there is a 2 point gap between them. Looking further back, Laner has a 15 point gap, and realistically, obviously, is the only one, that has a shot, a long shot at the title still. Um, Benji, Kregus, and Parker are still kind of down there battling for the fourth spot. All within about 9 points of each other, I think, if I'm doing the math right. Um, so, there is another battle going on there to see who kind of finishes in fourth, after this weekend. Um, Benji's, down in fourth with down in the fourth spot with 207 points. Kragus has 206, and Parker has 198. So there are your final look at the points before we head to Vegas this weekend. Um, you know, I honestly think that probably most of this will not change. Maybe Benji and Kragus might switch again. I don't anticipate much of this changing. I know that all six drivers are checked for this weekend, so it will be a packed house. As we've seen the past couple of weeks. With all six drivers racing. Um, I think that, like, to your point, I know that with the six drivers racing, I know that for the ones that are out of it, they'll still want to win. I just I have a feeling that those drivers that know that they're in contention or in more of a better spot are easily going to push those guys out of the way, which will make it harder for them to win the race. I honestly don't think that they will lay back on that fact of letting them kind of slide by if they try and make a pass. Um, and that goes back into my aggression point. I think that those drivers that are in contention, I think, are going to be more aggressive than anybody else in the field this weekend. So um, I think that's something to keep an eye on too. Is like their treatment towards the non-contentious drivers, or those drivers that are not in contention, I should say. Are it'll be interesting to watch kind of how that unfolds too. So, um, yeah, but not really seeing anything with the points just right off the bat. Just wanted to kind of display them so everybody can take a look at least before the last round comes out after this weekend. So
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I would probably expect the top three. Like, I think me, Land, and Lego will probably run top three most of the race. Um, just based off of what you just said. I think that you will see the contenders running up front for the most part. But maybe later in the race, if we have a late restart or something like that, things could kind of get a little bit crazy. Um, or maybe somebody further back tries a different strategy or a different, there's a lot of different things that could happen. I mean, it is 100 laps, so um, a lot of opportunities for a lot of different things to happen.
yeah, for sure. Um, Anything else you're seeing with the points?
No, not really. I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay,
Um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much all that I see.
all right. So there's your final look at the points for now. Obviously, we'll check back in next week when we get the final kind of look at everything for the season. Um, all right, so here's where the episode is going to probably feel a little different. We are not doing any of the hit the gas or pump the brakes this week. Figured, kind of as we close out the season, there's probably not much that we can um, kind of have as prompts. Kind of, there's only
Yeah,
one race left, so it'd just be very hard to come up with things to kind of talk about in that regard. I think some of the prompts too, like we've already discussed in earlier episodes, like on our championship picks, or like who's in contention still for the championship, or like bold picks, or hot takes. So I think a lot of those things like would just be repetitive if we included them again tonight. So that is mainly the reason we didn't decide to include any hit the gas or pump the brakes this week. Maybe we'll do kind of a futuristic version next week, maybe looking into next season, perhaps. But
yeah.
at least for tonight's episode, we are going to skip out on it for now. So apologies to anybody who was kind of looking forward to seeing what we had. Um, let's talk about Vegas. Let's kind of stay on topic with this. Moving into the details about this weekend. So it is the season finale 350. It is going to be 100 laps. The stages are 30, 30, and 40. So pretty good gaps there with the amount of racing that we'll see. Um, and practice starts at 8:15. Qualifying is at 8:30. Driver intros are after qualifying, and the race will start after driver intros. So be sure that you're on time so the race can start on time. The race may not end on time, but at least be sure to show up and be on time for when it starts. Um, Laner, what do you think we are going to see this weekend? I know that we've talked about there being chaos during the D2 race. We've talked about the strategy that was thrown in at Martinsville. Do you think we'll see a mix of that, or do you think we are kind of in for something of the unknown still?
I mean, we ran Vegas earlier in the year. I think Vegas is, in my opinion, the best intermediate track we have in the game. Um, I mean, like it doesn't. We don't have any. traction compound or anything like that on the top groove. I mean, it naturally, like without any assistance, it just puts on good racing. So I really think that we'll see some good racing. I think we'll see drivers using all three lanes of the track. Um, we might see some strategy. It's kind of hard. It's been so long since we went to Vegas, but um, I don't really know like what to expect. I know the intensity will be really high, especially with the three people that are still in contention. But like we mentioned, I know that the other three are also still going to want to run well and still compete for the win. So I think it'll be a really compelling and interesting race. And I think Vegas is a perfect track for the season finale.
Yeah, for sure. I am honestly really excited for this weekend. I think that it's going to put on a great show. Um, there may be a little chaos, a little strategy thrown in, but what's a race without both of those things? I think. If we don't see that, I'd be really be really disappointed, to be honest. I do hope that there are some green flag runs. I would definitely like to see some passing under green flag conditions, but also, some pit stops. This is a long, long pit road. Um, it is tricky getting on here, and it is also one of those pit roads that it is one of the few tracks that has a pit road that is curved. Um, I don't think we talked about that much. But there is a curve on this pit road. So, as you're coming down the front stretch, you're kind of turning to the left more and more before you exit the pit road. So, drivers are going to have to be aware of that and not going over their limits with their speeds and stuff. Um, drivers like Land and Lego, I think definitely want to be conservative on that end this weekend with, making mistakes on pit road. We've rarely seen any pit road penalties from them, like speeding penalties, I would say. Um, or I guess like maybe all in all for these six drivers, I think they've been really on top of not getting pit road penalties, but um, I know that the pressure is going to be felt in the 21 and the 44 camp. So, especially prioritizing that is going to be very important, I think, for them this weekend. Um, but let them loose. Once you get out on track, let them loose. Whatever happens, happens. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I know that the spectators and the commentary box is going to be very excited to see what happens as well. So I think overall we're in for a very good show this weekend.
Yeah, I think the biggest storyline to me is still. I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier, but I still think Lego going for that first title is the biggest storyline to me. Just
Yeah.
seeing like how does he perform in this situation,
Hmm.
especially like with a guy of Land's caliber being right there with him. I mean, it's not easy to beat Land for a championship. Not many people have done it.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very tough task. And we'll just have to see. I mean, Lego has never been in this position before. So I am very, very interested to see how that plays out. And I don't think Lego is intimidated either. I'm not trying to make it sound like that. And I'm not saying he should be intimidated either. But I just think it'll be very, very, very interesting to see like how that plays out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I wonder too, um, what Land's mentality is coming into this weekend. Um, because I'm sure it has to feel a little different than some past championship weeks, I guess, like leading up. Number one, he is sick. Hope he feels better soon. Number two, um, we've never had a format like this. The emotions are a little different. Um, you are in the points lead, but there's only a 2 point gap behind you. It's not like the win and you're in where there's four drivers and you're all level set and you just have to finish in front of the other one. Like that's it. No, this is like you have to finish in front, and either win the stage or you have to lead the most laps, you have to win the race. Like it is a like a do or die type of like situation, I think. Cuz it's to be honest, it'll probably come down to these two in the final laps if we're being honest, unless one of them screws up or, gets mixed up with one of the other drivers. It's most likely going to come down to these two drivers and who can find the most speed out of their car in the closing laps.
Yeah.
That's if this race doesn't end like in overtime. Then we're in a whole different
Oh
then
gosh.
that's a whole different like Pandora's box that we're opening. But
Yeah.
like if this thing finishes out under green, um I think it will very well come down to those two drivers. But a point that I do want to make, and I know I'm yapping, so I'll shut up in a minute. But a point that I do want to make is this earlier race that we had in the season with Vegas was it seemed like more of a pack race, like a close pack race. There wasn't really distance. So I don't know what the package is going to look like because it's not included in the information for this
It's the
weekend. But
same as the earlier in the season.
okay. Yeah. So I honestly don't know if we're going to see that type of racing still, or if things will get more stretched out, or not at all. Um, so I think that kind of opens up another. Uh, that kind of opens up another thought too, as to kind of our expectations for what to see. But we've had pack races here in the past at Vegas. They haven't really worked out too well. You can go back and watch past streams. They've been very ugly, very hideous. Somehow we got through them all. Um, but I don't know really what to expect. I think the package will play a big part into it too. So,
Yeah. I mean, I mean, assuming it plays out the way the spring race or the first race did, um, I don't. It's hard because the race wasn't even put on stream. I don't know what happened with that. But because I was trying to watch back a few days ago to kind of get an idea of what to expect for the racing, and then I watched the D2 race too to hopefully get an idea, and then you know how that went. So I really have no idea what to expect. But I think I remember it like it got kind of spaced out. Um, I mean, the cars were close together, but it wasn't like super, super close. I mean, we still had people kind of like getting decently sized gaps. So hopefully, we're not like all on top of each other like an Atlanta style race or anything like that. But um, yeah, I would expect it to play out similar to how the race earlier this season did. And whenever you were talking about how it might come down to land and Lego in the final laps, and it just had me thinking like I just really hope there is no contact there. Or like I hope one of them does not like accidentally spin the other one out or anything. Or I don't know, that's just where my head went cuz I'm like, "Oh man,
mm,
it is going to be a long off season
yeah,
if there is contact to win the championship." Like not slight like I'm talking about like if somebody gets spun out. I could just already see that in my head like the fucking sorry, I did not mean to curse there, but like just just the rabbit hole that's gonna cause it'll be terrible.
yeah,
It I really hope this race is just clean. Like let's just all be nice to each other and let's just not cause any controversies.
well, what is ROCAR without a controversy?
Well, yeah. Yeah, Lance says if I
There's
get
a
spun out, I'm
controversy
burning
every
down their
week.
hauler.
So yeah, there's a controversy every single week. Um, and if it's not happening out on track or on Discord, it's definitely happening in private conversations too. So,
Oh
um,
yeah.
um, but I honestly think I'm just looking back at actually the Las Vegas race from earlier this season. Um, the race ended, I believe, under green. Um,
Did we get that on stream? I wasn't able to find it.
so actually, the race goes up to about
I
one
think
or
only half of it.
39. Yeah, so it goes up to 39, but um, from
This
what I can
gives you
find.
kind of an idea of.
But yeah, I would definitely like review the film of it because I think it'll help kind of tell you what to expect with the same package being in place. From what I'm already seeing from some of the film, things are very close. So keep that in mind. It may not get as far and wide as people expect it to get. Um, I think another thing too is track position seems like it's going to be very important this weekend just because it's not easy to make passes at Vegas. There is a second lane that I think works very well. Um, the bottom works. I think it's the preferred lane, but there is a second lane. So I think that track position and where you place yourself during choose cone time is going to be very important too. Um, this will be the most important decisions that you'll be making as a driver when you pick what lane you're going into before you head into a restart or, you know, possibly an overtime. You know, we're kind of expecting anything, I think, at this point. So
Yeah.
I think just be on your toes about that too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was watching a few laps of the stream as well. It looks like the track was pretty tight. Um, I mean, with the standard dirty air package, it's kind of what you expect, but it does look like Legoland, myself, and Craigus all were running up front pretty frequently. So um, I wouldn't be surprised to see more of the same. And I remember we didn't get the end of this race, but I remember Parker was really close as well. So
Mhm.
I think all six drivers that are in this race will have a shot to win Vegas. But
Yeah.
I know we'll get into our race winner picks here in a little bit, but I truly think that whoever wins the championship is going to win the race. That's
Oh,
just
for
my
sure.
gut feeling.
For
So,
sure. Um, okay. Well, with that out of the way, let's get to our race winner picks. And I guess we can do. Mm, no, let's do rate the race first. I was gonna say maybe we do our race winner picks, then our rate the race, but let's rate the race first. Um, I'll give D2. Mm, I'll give it a. I'm gonna give it a 25. I think. I think it's a fair score for what we saw. That might be
dude, I don't even know if I can rate that race.
uh, maybe a negative for you. To be honest, man, I only saw like bits and pieces. I couldn't even watch it because it was just sad, like watching it on the stream. And that's why I get back to the point like, how was there three or four viewers the entire race? Who the hell was watching that entire race? From the long red flags to like one flag of green racing or green flag racing. What the hell was going on? Like
We got
I
some dedicated fans.
I know, I know.
Shout out.
That's why I'm giving it a 20 or 25. I'll give it a 25. Um, there were some dedicated people on the stream, and um, from the bits that I saw, the one lappers, the one lapper go arounds were pretty exciting before they wrecked. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, but the race sucked.
Uh,
D1, I'll give it. I'll say a 70. Um, I think a 70 is a fair choice too for D1, just
yeah.
because the racing obviously wasn't like top tier. It wasn't like blow my mind away. But I did like the fact that there were a lot of people that had the chance to lead laps, and there was a lot of good racing off pit road. A lot of positions changing on the restarts, and um, I think overall, like it was a pretty good race. You know, I honestly feel like there was minimal crashes, um, which I didn't really. That kind of took me by surprise, because I feel like here you'd expect the opposite, or like at Martinsville you'd expect the opposite. Um, but I mean, I was a little impressed. So I liked the racing. I liked the race overall. So I'm gonna go with the 70.
Okay. That's fair. Also, shout out to all the people watching in the. We got a little watch party going on for the podcast, so it's
I
pretty cool.
know. I know. I
Um,
saw that.
yeah. All right. I think I'll give the D2 race. Oh gosh. Um, I'll give it a 5%. I'm sorry. I I can't. I gotta be honest. Like I yeah, I don't even know if you can call that racing. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
did we even get more than 5 laps of a green flag run in? Because if not, like is that even really racing? Or is that just restart simulator? I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest. Like I I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go with like 5%. I that series is gonna have to go on like a 15 lap green flag run before I really like start taking it seriously. Um, so yeah, 5%. Martinsville, I think I'm on the same page as you. I think I'll go like 73%. I thought the racing was pretty fun. There were a lot of different people up there that were kind of leading laps. Um, and I thought it was pretty easy to like make passes and stuff. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I would say 73%.
Okay. You got to one up me, I think. You got
Yeah.
to one up me. All right. Let's do our race winner picks and then we can kind of combine it, I guess, with like our champion pick. I don't know if your race winner pick is the same as your champion pick. Because I think, it could go either way. Um,
Right.
but you let me know kind of how you're feeling, um, and where your head is at with your picks.
Um, Race winner pick. Man, that's it's tough. Think I'm gonna have to go with Land.
Okay.
Um, and I would probably pick him to win the championship as well.
Okay.
And I think Lego's gonna put up a very valiant effort, and I think Lego's gonna be in it all the way to the end. But um, I have to go with the experience of Land, and Land also ran really well at Vegas earlier in the season, and I also think, I mean, Land has really struggled in the chase, but don't let that guy get hot. He just won Martinsville. Like that's a driver that you do not want to let get momentum because whenever Land gets hot, like it's just going to keep snowballing. And now that team has momentum going into Las Vegas, and I really do not think that that is what the 44 team wants to see.
Interesting. Okay. Um, I am split. So my race winner pick is going to be Land, but I think that Lego's going to win the championship. Um, and I honestly think that Lego has had a great season. Like this is by far his breakout season. Um, I like the coming up story of Lego too. Um, and I honestly think that I don't know. I don't know. Did I screw up my picks?
I
I don't know.
think it's actually 10 points, Craigus. I think they're saying that because it's almost impossible for someone to win the race and not win the championship.
Hmm.
Because, like, you get 10 points over second place for winning. So,
Okay.
like, with their points position right now, whoever wins between those two is probably going to win the title.
Okay. Then I will just stick with Lego. Um, I honestly think that, just making a case for him, I think that um, I like his chances. And I honestly think that this is if any season has been his season to win the championship, it's this one. I honestly think that um, he is just he's been on a roll the entire time this season. They've definitely hit some bumps along the way, but like they've had that point every season. Um, but they've always persevered by either um, outperforming themselves or, like this season, going out and winning multiple races. Um, and in his season where he wins, you know, for the first time too, he goes out and wins multiple of them. So, I feel like that's pretty impressive, number one. But
Yeah.
um, I honestly just think that it is his race to lose at this point. He's not the points leader, but he's only 2 points back. That is obtainable. Um, I would be really careful if I was that team, but I think that they're more than capable of winning the title. Um, so I'm looking forward to. Oh, I just disconnected. I'm looking forward to seeing how these two guys kind of um, battle things out. Hopefully, they stay clean. Um, I would hate for things to end kind of in a
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
messy fashion. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the last thing I would want. But I honestly think Land has won four, and I'm sure he would love to have five, but Lego does not have one in his collection. And I
Yep.
think he's going to fight just a bit harder to go out there and give it his all. So that's
Yeah.
my
And
pick.
I expect Land and Lego to race each other cleanly. My thing is just like they're racing side by side with each other. Let's say there's 5 laps to go, something like that, and they know whoever wins the race wins the championship. I mean, at that point, you kind of throw everything out the window. Like we can sit here and say like, "Oh yeah, they're going to race each other cleanly." But me and you have both been in positions like that before. You
Mhm.
you don't really think common sense whenever you're racing with 5 laps to go, especially if there's a championship on the line.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I can't tell you what's going to happen. I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to sit here and say that they're going to race each other cleanly, but I really think, and I'm not saying they're going to take each other out or wreck each other for the championship, but I do think that the racing intensity would pick up a lot, and there probably would be contact.
yeah. Um, I think it's going to be a spectacle, like I said earlier. I just hope things stay clean, and whoever wins the point or wins the championship, comes out on top of the points. We'll see. It's going to be a very, very fun race. I'm looking forward to it. Might have to hop in the box or something for this race, because I think it's going to be very exciting, or at least kind of make an appearance in person. At least would be nice, but yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a great, great night of racing, and we'll have to find out who will win the championship this weekend. Um, Catch all the action this weekend. Starts on Friday with the season finale 350. It is going to be 100 laps of racing with practice at 8:15, qualifying at 8:30. Driver intros are after qualifying, and the race will kick off after driver intros are complete. Um, that's it from us for the most part, but we will see you guys after championship weekend. Very, very excited for this. Been waiting all season to get to this point, and now it's here. So good luck to all the drivers this weekend, and we will talk to you guys next week to wrap things up from us.
See you guys.
Good night, everybody.